I also was someone who was saying that Emmett Johnson has a chance to be a star here in Nebraska, do the little things right, and he blew my expectations out the water. I'll say, as one of the best running backs in the country, I think him declaring for the draft makes perfect sense. I think not that he can't duplicate this season on another level next year, do even better or anything like that. It's one of those things that you take that chance when you can, you get out of here when you can, not just Nebraska, but the college in general. This is a year that looking back on it, it's going to be hard to kind of top that. And so I'm perfectly okay with it from a Emmett Johnson standpoint. Obviously, as a Husker fan standpoint, that's a huge hole you're going to have to fill, which kind of has been a problem for Nebraska over time, just as far as you have these elite talents on offense, on defense, special teams, even. And when they do have a chance to go to the next level, or they do have a chance to just venture off afterwards, whether that is professional football or whether that's just out of eligibility, you kind of run into that slot that you need to fill up. And I think that is what's going to happen here. It's going to be a huge loss for Nebraska and for us here in Lincoln. But it's a bittersweet moment. It's hard to not feel some sense of pride that that's your guy going on to the next level. So I'm perfectly cool with it. I'll look the other way from my bias here, and it's one of those things that is truly deserved. And so, I mean, you can't be too mad. You can't fault him too much, which how many of our listeners are tuning in that aren't going to take that chance to go to the league? I don't know. I'm doing it if I could. Moving on to our next question here. Who do I think is QB1 right now for Nebraska? I don't think I'm someone that probably is going to give too much bias here. I do think it should still be Raiola. Obviously, the injury is not something you can ignore. It's not something you're going to look past. I do think with all these rumors coming up about transfer portals, who's where, decommits, talent coming in at the next level, that we do have some amazing recruits. I do think it's a good problem to have. You're in a situation not similar to that Quinn Ewers Arch Manning situation, but a situation that you have talent at the starting position, you have talent behind, and you have talent coming in. I think it's a good problem to have. I think if season starts tomorrow, everybody's healthy, I'm still rolling Raiola out there. Not that Latif hadn't done enough, not that Trey Taylor's not going to be that guy, but it's more that you know what you're going to get with Raiola. You're a little more comfortable, you're a little more confident. So I'm personally, season starts tomorrow, everybody's healthy, give me Raiola. Like a lot of us here in the studio have been saying, Raiola going down was probably a bigger loss than I think the country gives credit for. I think here in Lincoln, here in the Big Red community, you kind of understand that. You know that that loss was detrimental, not just your starting quarterback, but that USC game was trending a little different before he went down with that injury. I was there, fortunately enough, and you could kind of just feel the energy just completely sucked out of the stadium. And I think that was more than just in the moment on that drive in this game. You knew what was happening in that moment. You knew that Dylan Raiola going down was going to be a little something bigger than you can just bounce back from. And it's not that nobody else was ready for the backups, but it was tough. And I think that shows just how true of a factor you get from Dylan Raiola in this setting. So I do think Dylan Raiola's QB1, I think, for a reason. And I do want to. I'm actually very excited to see where these portal rumors and all these things that come afterwards play into effect. But at the same time, I want to believe that he's firmly built into Nebraska's culture at this point, and hopefully he does stay. Hopefully we get the best out of him. I think he's trending upwards. I think he's a guy who does exemplify what it means to be a Cornhusker, a Nebraska Cornhusker here. And so I'm perfectly fine with him being my QB1. Moving on to my next question here: who do I think deserves the Heisman? I want to go out on a limb here, on a note here, whatever you want to call it. I think this is probably going to be one of our weaker Heisman classes in years past. I think last year we were spoiled. Last year you got quarterbacks, you had wide receivers slash DBs. You had one of the greatest running back seasons we've ever seen. I want to say we've been spoiled years past as well. Just before that, going on to the Jaden Daniels, the Marvin Harrison, the Michael Penix season. You have so much legacy and so much success that comes with that Heisman Award, as we know. And for this year, I don't think that these guys are having bad seasons, obviously. As a Longhorn fan, as a partial Husker fan now, who wouldn't want to have any of these Heisman finalists or Heisman front runners on their team? I think if season ends today, I'd probably go on. I think you have to. Me personally, I'm a Jeremiah Love fan. I think what that dude's done over the last 2 years, especially this year, it's one of those things that if you're a Heisman voter, You kind of fumbled the bag last year with the Ashton Genty, Travis Hunter situation, in my opinion. And I don't think you can do that again. I think with how this year is stacked up, with the talent here, you have a guy who just barely surpassed 3,000 yards in the Heisman conversation. No disrespect. But I think it's one of those things that Jeremiah loves having a great year that you kind of can't ignore, can't make the same mistake twice, and it's a clear option. I'm going Jeremiah Love. If that season ended today, that's who I'm going with. Oh, nice. We got more questions. These are all from the same texture. I do appreciate that. Giving me some great content to go off on here. This is going to be a tough one. I'm sorry. What are my thoughts on the Blue Jays moves, knowing that I'm a Blue Jays fan? Obviously, very. I've been told all year, oh, what a great series that was. What a great series the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. No, that wasn't a great series. That was not. Was I proud of my Blue Jays? Absolutely. Was it something I'm gonna look back on in 5 years, 10 years, tell my kids about, hey, Addison Barger is one of the greatest players I've ever seen touch a baseball field in October? Yeah, I might. But at the end of the day, we lost. Do I think we'll be back? Probably not. That's just how baseball is. We're not the Dodgers. We're not going to spend $1 billion to get the best players in the universe. I wish we would, and I know every team in the country wishes they would too, but that's not realistic for us. I do want to say we have made some good pickups. I do think Kyle Tucker's trending to be a Blue Jay, which doesn't necessarily fill any gaps or make anything a drastic difference. I think he's a great player. You'll get 20 to 30 home runs out of him. You'll get some above average defense. You get some decent speed, some stolen bags in there. I think he's a great player. I don't think it's something that's going to make us better. I'm someone that we need to go out there and get Bo Bichette. And I will say, as a Royals enjoyer, now that I've been spending some time in the Midwest, I do want to see the Royals get better. I want to see the Royals compete. But at the same time, I think we're going to just venture into a Mike Trout, Bobby Witt situation similarities here. I know there's a lot of Royals fans in this studio, a lot of Vinny Pasquantino fans, and that's great. But I think Bobby Witt, you got to start building around him if you're the Royals. You got to start fleshing out the cash. You got to do everything you can to build around these Royals right now. They're young, they're talented, and you're kind of in a spot right now where you're kind of just stagnant if you're the Royals. And me personally, as a Blue Jays fan, I'm not going to complain. But I know that the Royals have so much talent. I know the Royals can be so much better than what they've showed. And I think it's something that same thing with college football, like me and DP were talking about on our previous show. You're kind of running out of excuses here. You're starting to see that, hey, maybe the best teams in the league are the ones that spend the most money. I think the Blue Jays were third or fourth this year behind the Dodgers. And obviously, it's a lot of money, but you got to tune it in. You got to understand that, hey, games changing, times are changing. If you're not spending the money, you're not winning the rings. And I think a lot of teams, including the Royals, do need to start seeing that. Who am I trusting to win the Super Bowl right now? It's a great segment to get into, actually. I'm a Packers fan. I know that that's a not a great thing here. I know there's a lot of Kansas City Chiefs fans in here, and I think that's awesome. I I will always be a Patrick Mahomes hater, but simply for the same fact I was a Tom Brady hater. It all comes from the success that I wish he had on my green and gold, and that's cool. But right now, if I'm trusting one single team to win the Super Bowl, I I think we're also at a point right now that there's so much talent in the league that it's also hard to just pick one team out of all of them. I want to have the comfortable option of the Eagles here, but their last couple games haven't looked as great. And I want to go Patriots, but I also know that the lack of that experience on that team might come back to haunt them. I think there's a couple things here and some teams that kind of stand out and show out. Obviously, I want to say my Packers are up there. Do I think they'll tune it out? Probably not. I think the offense is too lackadaisical at times. I think sometimes you can't be putting up 10 points at home while your defense is having a great game. Like, I don't think that they're clicking on all aspects right now. So if I had to pick, if I'm a gambling man, which I'm not, NCAA, please do not listen to that. If I was a gambling man, I would probably be putting a little bit of safe money on the Eagles right now. I feel like they'll tush push their way to another championship as much as that sucks. And it's one of those things that excuse me, one of those things that within the Eagles system, they do it so well and they do it so annoyingly that I think it's just going to be hard to beat as always. I think they'll figure it out. They'll tune it up. They'll get into postseason Jalen Hurts mode, and here we go again. Saquon's rushing for 200 in the postseason. You'll see some crazy things out of the Eagles again. I do think that that diva mentality in that wide receiver room might be coming in to haunt them a little bit, but we'll get to that at some point. Do I? Ooh, speaking of, will the Bears make noise in the playoffs? I don't think so. I have a buddy back home, or a buddy here, actually. I'm sorry. That is a huge Bears glazer right now, which is great. I think they're a talented team. They have the weapons. I think they're a very young team that is gonna stand out. I think Roma Dunze has the keys. I think DJ Moore can step up. I like what they're doing there. I think they're a couple steps away from making true noise in the playoffs. I think that they can get it done, just not now. I think it's a similar way for my Packers as well. I think you have the keys. Don't get me wrong, the Packers wide receiver core, I will say. Matthew Golden, good pickup, sure. You got to get some superstars for Jordan Love. But in terms of the Bears making noise in the playoffs, I don't think we're there yet. I think they're a couple clicks and pieces away, but that's cool. We do have another text here from Thomas and Lincoln. Thank you. With it being championship week, do I think the group of five champion should have a ticket to be in the playoffs? Why or why not? I'm I'm going back to last year. I don't think so. I think yes, it is always great to acknowledge the success, and it's always worth a look. It's not that it's not worth a look. It's not that it's not a definite no. I just personally think if I can name 11, 12 teams better than a group of five champion outright, not as a Longhorn fan as well, Thomas. I don't think that we should be in over a group of five champion if they had a better year than us record wise. Do I think the strength of schedule and I think the resume of schedule and I think everything amplified with that? Do I think that should come into effect? Absolutely. I don't think they should have a automatic just, oh, you're the group of five champion. Yeah, we're gonna look at you. You're gonna get in. I'm not cool with that. I think the lack of play takes a drop off. We saw it last year. We saw Boise State not compete. Yes, you had Ashton Jency, you had the Heisman front runner, in my opinion. That doesn't make you a you're not at the same level as some of these other teams. And I think we're starting to see that now. And I want to be wrong. I want a group of five champion to come in here, run the table. That'd be really awesome for me. I can't lie. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Do I think it's something that makes the game better? No. I think it's great to get eyes on these teams. I think it's great. It's great to just understand who these people are and see these teams, and I love that. But I don't think it should be an automatic bid for every single team that's going to come out of a group of five champion like that. I think you got to get to that point. I think you got to see where these teams stack up. I think you got to understand that, hey, maybe there are some teams that aren't conference championship winners, and that's cool. But at the same time, you got to understand the talent drop off will be there. These teams are going to get curb stomped. Your best player, whether he's a Heisman winner or not, yeah, maybe that O line's not going to compete with Penn State. Maybe there's a difference of talent there. I think we're starting to see that. And I do hope that that does get to a point where maybe there's ways around it. Maybe just with more teams, we kind of get that in there. We're going to see it more. We're going to see some teams that are at the bottom of the totem pole. If we go to a 16 team playoffs, yeah, you'll have Virginia creep in there just regardless. And that's cool. Not a group of five team on them. But I'm just saying we're going to see that talent kind of get to a point where it doesn't drop, but it kind of slopes. And that's cool. I don't think as of right now with the 12 team playoff coming off of a 14 playoff years prior, I don't think that's what we need to have yet. But I can't hate it. Can't hate it at all. Another question here. Who do I think is the NBA GOAT? This isn't going to go well on air. So we'll finish this first segment with this one. I think with any sport here, a huge factor of why these guys are GOATs has to come from what you've seen, has to come from yes, I can go watch Michael Jordan highlights all I want. I could watch him dunk from the free throw line. I could watch him hit the push off against Utah. I'll say it was a push off. I can see all these amazing. I can watch the flu game. I can understand his legacy. I can understand the success. I can understand everything Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, all these guys. I can understand their mistakes as people. What I can't understand is how you're going to watch LeBron James come down 3-1 and how you're going to say, hey, you know what, maybe he's not the GOAT. No, I'm going to take the guy who's done it longer. I'm going to take the guy who's been dominant. I'm going to take the guy who can do everything. Are we seeing a regression of his skills right now? Absolutely. I think he shot, 5 for 18 a couple nights ago, and that's okay. I'll give him grace. That's my GOAT. So my answer is LeBron. It's always going to be LeBron. And maybe I'm wrong. I can always appreciate Michael Jordan's success and legacy. But I'm going to be someone I'm locked in on LeBron. And Brad here does not completely agree. Unless I say Allen Iverson, I'm wrong. You know what I will say before we wrap this first segment up about Allen Iverson? I don't think people give him enough credit for how, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think they give enough credit to AI for how influential he was as a player over time. I think on the court, off the court, you had little boys in the crowd rocking cornrows that probably shouldn't be rocking cornrows. They had fake tattoos on. They had the armband like AI. I'm sure they were wearing the AIs on their feet. And so I will say, do I think Allen Iverson's the GOAT in the NBA? I'm going to say no. I'm sorry, Brad. But at the exact same time, I'm going to say I do think AI does get overlooked in so much. You're right. He did take some clowns to the finals. You know what? I will say he is one of the greatest point guards to touch a basketball. I will say he's one of the most influential. I think he's one of the most revolutionary. I don't think anybody had the skills he had, especially at that time. And if you were to put him in today's game, I think he translates very well. I would say I think he's a lot more slept on than people give him credit for. Everyone knows the name, everyone knows the skills, everyone knows the step over. But do I think that he's up there with the GOATs? I'm going to say no. Would I say Steph is better than LeBron? I'm going to read the full question here. Would I say Steph is better than LeBron, considering that Curry won the same amount of titles in less time, and he did it with a nobody team? I just don't. I was following along to that last sentence. I Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, two of the greatest shooters ever, and they're on the same team. You mix in the physical aspect of Draymond Green. I think they had a legacy there. I mean, not a legacy, pardon me. They had a dynasty there that can't be overlooked, and I think we all understand that. Do I think it was a nobody team? No. Do I think that they had to recruit the Slim Reaper Kevin Durant for some help? Yeah, I do. Do I think that kind of tarnishes some of this? Not entirely to an extent of where I don't think Steph's the GOAT. I think Steph Curry is easily the greatest shooter, the greatest point guard. I think if I'm going to be a little biased here to my younger age, to my Gen Z mentality, I'm going LeBron and Curry 1-2 right there. I do think I will say I think LeBron's just more dominant than Curry. I think that's what I play a factor into. I think I take in a factor the physicality, the longevity, which obviously you can never hold longevity against another player. But I think if you were to talk about Curry's titles over LeBron as well, that is impressive. Absolutely. LeBron took Matthew Dellavedova to the finals. Matthew Dellavedova. He had J.R. Smith cost him some games there. We'll get into that, I'm sure. I think this is more of a credit to the Warriors that I'm about to say. I think the Warriors just had it perfectly. They had the blueprint. They were perfect. They're one of the greatest teams to ever be assembled. They went 73-9. But did they win a ring that year? I don't think so. And all because of one man. One man. One man had to chase down block. One man dropped 40 in game 6. I believe it was game 6. One man only. And that was my GOAT, personally, LeBron James. So I'm sure as we're going into this break here, we'll get some more text on the text line. Keep them coming in. It's just me in studio here. I love talking to you guys. I love answering some questions. Maybe we'll get into some Spurs dynasty on how Tim Duncan's the GOAT. But other than that, stay tuned here. You are listening to Ticket Weekends with Rudy Gres on 93.7 The Ticket. We'll be right back after these ads.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com. It's the holiday season. Time for work parties, friend get-togethers, and family gatherings, which means lots of eating. Maybe you think you've perfected your holiday meals, and maybe you have no idea where to even start. Let's fix that right now. No holiday party is complete without Führer's cheese spread. It goes well with any type of cracker, pretzels, apples, chili, vegetable, chips, and of course, it's perfect to pair with wine or beer. Holiday meals aren't complete until Führer's cheese spread is on the table. Find your own container at your nearest local grocery store today.
Imagine starting your day with a computer glitch that leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unable to get your work done. You have 1,000,001 things to get done today, and waiting for the tech issue to solve itself isn't one of them. It's time to let Hamilton handle the tech so you don't have to. We help businesses across the state spend more time on what they do best and less time frustrated with office technology. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we're focused on providing custom solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Connect with us today at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com. Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get 1 half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top-quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up. And we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Make plans to be at the Icebox on Saturday, December 13th for Teddy Bear Toss Night as the Stars host the Dubuque Fighting Saints. Bring a teddy bear or stuffed animal from home or purchase one at the game. When the Stars score their first goal of the game, it's time to throw the bears and stuffed animals onto the ice, with all being donated to the Community Action Partnership of Lancaster and Saunders counties to help local children in need during the holidays. That's the Teddy Bear Toss on Saturday, December 13th with the Lincoln Stars.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to Ticket Weekends with your host, Rudy Gres IV here. Yes, it is important that I throw in the fourth, just so you know that I am the correct Rudy Gres to tune in with. I can't lie. As I expected, and as I'm delighted, I got some more text here on the text line, some more comments. I even had some friends tune in with some questions they want to see me answer, which we'll get to. But before we get into that, as we've spoke on, it is a big day for college football. You got conference championships. You got championship Saturday. You got some games in here that are going to have some lasting effects. I am wishing, praying, and delusional that some of these will affect my Longhorns and get us into that playoffs. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. So to start with, I think it's worth talking about right now. Texas Tech is up 10-7 against BYU in the second quarter. About 50 seconds till halftime here. I do want to say I was wrong about the Texas Tech Red Raiders this year. Early on this off season, we did a poll of where we thought these teams would finish. All this ups and downs. I completely doubted these Texas Tech Red Raiders. I thought they were going to be a flash in the pan. I was mad they also stole a Longhorn recruit last year, so there's my bias. But hey, they proved me wrong. Top 4 team in the country for a reason. I'll never hate on success, at least not publicly. So there's that. I do think they come away with this one. I don't think BYU's top to bottom as strong as Tech can be, but I do think a 10-7 score going into halftime's not what I was expecting, at least. Maybe in a good way, maybe in a bad way, but we'll see how that one pans out. We keep giving updates as I can if we're still on air during that. Big game at 3 p.m. today. We got Georgia Bama. This is a game I'll be watching. I need Georgia to win, but as far as that, I think it's going to be a great game. I think we've seen just I obviously Bama can get it done. They can beat Georgia when it matters. They can do a lot of things. Me personally, I think Georgia comes away with this one. I just think Georgia's back to being Georgia. I think I was a little biased on this year, and I didn't think they were going to be able to be as solidified as a unit as they usually are. I didn't think quarterback play was going to be something that was going to be up to standard, all these things. But I need a curb stomping from Georgia. Kirby Smart, if you're tuned in, which why wouldn't you be? If you're tuned in, we need a curb stomp in here. We need onside kicks like you did against us. We need that 35-10 win against Bama, please. That'd be great. That'd be huge. I agree, Thomas and Lincoln here. We need Georgia by 21. I completely agree. Do I think that happens? I'm going to say yes, just so I'm not wrong. Duke, Virginia, that's an interesting one. I mean, with a Duke win, you get an 8-5 Duke in the playoffs, I believe. Like, that's kind of goes back to my G5 topic about these talents and the way that the playoffs set up. I think if they win, they deserve every single right to be in there. Do I think an 8-5 team in the playoffs is going to be what's going to be drawing me into TV if they get matched up with an A&M, if they get matched up? Like, no. But at the same time, as much as I was not denouncing the idea of a G5 team always being in the playoffs, I think it's the same with this. I want to see Duke get in there. Maybe they make some noise. Maybe they get curb stomped. Who knows? But that's what we're here for. And last but not least, my fault. I'm taking Virginia there. I'll be a smart man today, too. As far as the big game we're all waiting for, as far as the one that we're probably the most in tune with here in Big Ten country, Indiana, number 2, against Ohio State, number 1. This is probably one of the most anticipated matchups as the year's gone on. It started off with that Ohio State-Texas matchup that, hey, committee, we only lost by a touchdown. I hope you're tuning in too. But besides that, Indiana and Ohio State, this is a matchup that here in the studio, here on Twitter, here in anywhere you're talking sports with anybody who knows sports, you know that this is a match that's going to have that national championship feel for a reason. I do want to be the one to say it. I think Indiana wins tonight. Am I a Kurt Cignetti fan? Not necessarily. He's had some comments about my glorious SEC conference, so I'll hold that to myself. But aside from that, I think what Kurt Cignetti has done, you cannot ignore. You can't ignore the way that team's just – last year they had this run, very similar, but it was also one of those things that I was never bought in. I was like, yeah, they're doing it, but they beat Nebraska. Like, you can't be bought in too much. Right now they're doing it. They're doing the thing. They're running away in some of these games. They're not keeping that foot off the pedal for any second of any part of this drive they're on. And I don't think Ohio State, I want to say Julian Sain's been sacked 6 times this season or something around there. And I don't think they have a great line. They do have a great line easily. Do I think that that's going to be something that kind of plays a factor? No. Do I think that Indiana's going to get in there and cause some havoc? Absolutely. And again, Thomas here, thank you. Do you think Indiana holds them to 14 points or has a 7-point or better difference? I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game. I think a 7-point differential is going to be a little tough, just simply because no matter what I believe, I don't think Ohio State's frauds. I don't think that they're some wash in the pan. Like, we all know this in the country. There's a reason they win so many awards on player basis, and there's so many reasons why Jeremiah Smith, I'm sure some NFL owners would rig the draft to get him now. And I think it's going to play a factor. I want to say it'll be honestly, the more I think about this, I want to say it'll be a field goal difference. I want to say let's go 24-21. Why not? I think it's going to come down to just who makes the least amount of errors, which is kind of what we see in these top team matchups, these 1v5s, just 1v3s. But in 1v2, you're getting some of the best football either of y'all has played all year. And I think that's going to play a factor. I think it's going to show up. I think Indiana's going to be able to hold on just a little longer. That's all it is. It's not about who's going to go out there and dominate. It's going to be about who can play their best football against some of the best football in the country and come away with a win. You're coming away with a win. You're not walking away. You're not dominating. You're not running over anybody, in my opinion. If that happens, hey, Indiana's meant to be, or Ohio State's meant to be if they do it on their end. But at the same time, I think this is one of those games that it's going to be on who can play the most perfect amount of football as long as possible. And whatever team slips off for a minute or two, that's the team that's probably not deserving of this. But I think at the end of the day, both these teams are going to have a great run. Maybe we see them again match up in the playoffs. That'd be awesome. And I think that's where I'm at. I think Indiana comes away with it, scaves by. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it'll be a low-scoring game in terms of how far they get away from each other, but it'll be a good one to tune in for. Absolutely. No one's missing that. Unknown texter 5301. Thoughts on where Kyler plays next year? I'm assuming you mean Kyler Murray. Excuse me. It's a great question. I know that they're not extremely happy or at least big on him right now in Arizona. I think his play style is the one thing that's not going to be tough to move him, tough to get him on a new team or anything, because he's a skillful quarterback. He can be what we think he is sometimes, but there's a lot of times where he's just not. I think he probably stays in Arizona. I haven't heard too much on what the thought process may be moving him or with him leaving or anything of that sort. I know it was talked about. I know it was there. I don't think Arizona's in a place to get rid of him. I don't think that that's something that kind of jumps at the idea that, hey, we got to do this, we got to do it now, and we got to be better. I don't think he's the answer. I think when you have a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. and he's not being utilized when Kyler is healthy, I think that plays a factor. Me personally, I'll throw a little shout out there. My Zoo Dynasty League on fantasy, I got rid of Marv for a reason. Not because of his skill set, not because I didn't think he had what it had to get done. But you got to look at the surrounding factors. Kyler's not the guy. Do I think he's playing football in Arizona next year? Probably. Do I think he's the answer? Absolutely not. Unknown texter 4208097. Shout out from San Antonio. Do I think Oklahoma City can repeat? I think so. I think they're the best team in the NBA. I don't think that's a question. Do I think, and they are linked to some Giannis trade rumors. So I'm really big on the fact here that they are as legit as they think they are. They're as legit as the entire league thinks they are. They're as legit as I think they are. Am I a Spurs fan right now? Absolutely. Go Spurs, go. The Thunder are playing basketball in a way that I can only compare, for the listeners here, to the same standard of what Nebraska volleyball is doing on the volleyball court. It's just pure domination. You have guys on their team that are hurt. You have guys that are not playing right now. You have Shy, and got mentioned earlier from another previous texter on what are my thoughts on SGA taking all these free throws? I want to compare him to Jalen Hurts. I want to compare him to the Eagles. I want to compare the Thunder. Are they doing it the most entertaining way? Are they foul baiting? Are they getting to the line? Yeah, they are. But at the end of the day, if you're going to get your points, I don't care where they come from. If you're going to get a base hit to right field on a bloop single over the first baseman, hey, that's a base hit. And the same way I'll say it, hey, that's a bucket. That's a point. Do I think they repeat? Probably. I don't think there's a team that I think can confidently beat them 4 games in a row or 4 games in a 7-game series. So I do think they can repeat. I think that's also a testament to just where they're at as a program or as a franchise. And I think, I will say it on air, I think the Spurs can be the team to do it. Not now. Not this year, probably. I think you got to keep Wemby healthy. That's going to be something that is going to be a little factor for the years. But I do want to say that I think Spurs can be the team that kind of gets that. So I will stick to that. I think the Thunder probably repeat. Not a team that I think can hold a candle to what they're doing at this exact second. But that's okay. Back to the college football playoff question here. Do I think Notre Dame needs to join a conference? Yeah, they do. Is that me being a Notre Dame hater? Probably. Do I respect them as a program? Do I respect them as this and that? Absolutely. Do I respect the history? Do I think Jeremiah Love wins a Heisman? Yeah. But at the same time, they are scheduling some tough games. They got Texas in the schedule in 2 years, I believe. I You have to lose some credibility for not being in the conference. And the only conference you're ever usually tied to is the ACC, which, hey, you got 7-5 Duke playing in that championship today. I don't think that they're I don't think they're above being in a conference. I don't think anything of that, but I want to say that I do truly believe they will always have that asterisk in a sense. They'll always have, for me, this isn't what the world thinks. I get that. I think it's always going to be something when they have a season how they are right now, where they're kind of on the fringe, they're kind of looking out on the way in, they're hoping to. I want to say that I think they do need to join a conference. They do. I want to hear the reason why they shouldn't. I want to hear not the reason. I want to hear the justification for what makes them not want to do it from a fan's perspective. Why do fans want to see this? Why do fans not want to have them in the conference? I don't think many do. I think many want to see them toe to toe. Hey, if it's in the Big Ten, yeah, you're coming to Lincoln, Nebraska every other year, buddy. I think it's something that they do need to join a conference in, and I'm cool with it. If I'm a committee member, am I keeping them out because they aren't in a conference? Like I said, I think it depends on the year they've had. I think right now, I don't think I'm keeping them out entirely because of that. But I think it's something that the same way you kind of looked at Florida State, the same way you kind of take all these other factors into account with a team like Notre Dame. Their 2 losses came at the start of the season. You lost to Miami on the road, which, okay. You lost to A&M, who, as a Longhorn fan, I'll admit they're a great team, all that. Do I think that looking at the rest of their schedule, let's just go through this. Let me see if there's any wins on this list that I'm like, hey, you know what? You're not in the conference, but you got it done. You beat Purdue 56-30. You gave up 30 to Purdue. You went to Arkansas 56-13. Great win. Excuse me. Boise State 28-7, cool. NC State 36-7, cool. 34-24 against USC, who we saw they're a talented squad. Boston College 25-10. 25. Boston College. Okay. And then you go to the you play Navy at home 49-10, good. You beat Pitt 37-15. You beat Syracuse. You beat the brakes off of Syracuse 70-7. And then you go to Stanford, you beat them 49-20. I think it's a great season they've had. Do I think that's a playoff resume? Absolutely not. The same way I don't think Texas is. The same way I'll sit here and say my Longhorns don't deserve to be in it because, hey, you lost the biggest game you probably should have won. Or you also lost the game you shouldn't have lost. I think it's the same thing. I don't think Notre Dame, if I'm looking at this, there's not many reasons I can say, hey, you know what? They're not in the conference. Let's throw them in there anyways. I'm cool on it not being in there. I think this is the 1 year that can keep them out. And I think if I'm making a vote, I'm probably putting other teams in above them just simply because of that. We do got some more questions here. We are running a little short and tight on time here, so I will get to some of those after this. Thomas, I did see you called LeBron LeBum. Let's not do that, please. I will not stand for that, unfortunately. But other than that, thank y'all for tuning in. We will be right back after some more of these ads here. You are listening to Ticket Weekends with Rudy Gres here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
This holiday season, bring home a tradition that tastes like celebration. Beatrice Bakery's world-famous fruitcake, baked in the heart of Nebraska with rich, golden batter, real cherries, pineapple, crunchy nuts, and a splash of old-fashioned goodness. It's moist, flavorful, and crafted the same way for generations. It's the fruitcake that turns skeptics into believers. Find Beatrice Bakery fruitcake online at grandmasbakeshop.com or at your favorite retailer, and make your holidays deliciously unforgettable with the help of Beatrice Bakery's world-famous fruitcake.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between, we'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
Leaves are falling and temperatures are cooling down, but don't put your golf clubs away. Double Eagle Golf makes golf leagues and events possible year-round. Winter leagues begin on December 1st and are open for registration. Check out their deals on monthly memberships and schedule your Husker Watch parties, birthday or bachelor parties, corporate or team outings, or just a good old Saturday with the boys. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Book a tee time today or learn more at doubleeagle.golf.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to Ticket Weekends here with your host, Rudy Gres IV. If you want to follow me on social medias, I will not stop anybody here at Rudy Boat, RUDYBOAT. A lot of good things on there, a lot of baseball on there, which leads me into a question we just got on the text line here. Unknown texter 6079 asks, who is my favorite baseball player and why? Well, I have a lot. I think there's a lot of players that stand out. Me personally, I'm someone who, through and through, I will defend till the day I die Barry Bonds. Do I think what he did was right? No, okay. I understand steroids bad. Home run's good, though. That's what I'm all here for. I love Barry Bonds. That's a guy that no matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter what sport you like, no matter anything you take into account, Giants fan, Yankees fan, Blue Jays fan, is there anybody who's ever touched home plate more times than him after hitting the ball over the fence? The answer is no. The answer is always going to be no. Do I think Shohei is going to pass him? Yeah, sure, but I'll acknowledge that when we get there. As of right now, Barry Bonds is my favorite player, my greatest player of all time. And I want to give a quick shout out to my little cousin Ephraim for that question there. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you all for everybody tuning in. Let's keep moving to some more questions here. Ooh. Was CP3 Chris Paul done wrong by the Clippers? How they dropped him so quickly, or is that just business? I think for someone with a career as his, with someone with so much kind of just, again, in the same AI sense, I'm going to say, it's just who he is as a player. You always knew him growing up. I saw him in these State Farm commercials all the time. You know, Lob City, everything that dude's ever been tied to. It's truly, I want to say, disrespectful. Not just because, oh, you got dropped. It's who did it. If the Spurs did that to him, which they wouldn't, but if the Spurs did it, okay. You know, if he signed a 1-year contract with the Hornets, okay. If he signed a 1-year contract with the Kings, okay. It was the Clippers, though. You went back home. You went back to your ex. You fell back in love. You know, hey, let's have one last go at it. And now she cuts you off. That's where I got the draw the line there. I do think it's a little messed up. I think it's a bad way. I think it's a sour taste to go out on. I don't think it's something that really is going to be on that as far as where I'm at. Who's the best NFL wide receiver this year? I know this is not cool. Jackson Smith and Jigba, cool, fine, cool. Do I think that he is. There's no one I don't think is better than him. But I will say, I will throw out there, this offseason, again, shout out to the Zoo Dynasty Fantasy League, I made some moves. I said, you know what? I think George Pickens is going to be that guy. I said, you know what, George Pickens, you could be my wide receiver 2 right behind Puka. Here he is. I think George Pickens, Did he have a bad game a couple nights ago? Yeah. Did he have some lackadaisical effort? Yeah, he did. Cool. But do I think George Pickens has the chance to be a star in Dallas? Yeah. And do I think people need to stop sleeping on that fact? Yeah. Am I a Cowboys fan now? No. Go Pack, go. Other than that, we got some final questions here coming in. I want to take a second to talk about before we get off stream here and before everyone goes about their great day of sports, before everyone just tunes into everything they need. Oh, when will the Cowboys win a Super Bowl? Yeah, never. So I I think the Cowboys are going to be Cubs cursed. I think we're going to go years. I hope we go years without a Cubs, without a Cowboys Super Bowl. I'm hoping that everybody back home watching right now, eating their barbacoa and Big Red, I hope that every single Sunday your Cowboys take that field, it's a bad day. I'm hoping and I'm thinking. And it's the same way that I'll always hate Oklahoma. It's the same way that everybody in Lincoln, Nebraska is going to hate that team in Iowa. It's one of those things that there's never going to be a day I'm happy when that team wins a football game. And that's me with the Cowboys. Do I like their players? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. But at the end of the day, I really hope the Cowboys don't win a Super Bowl. That might make Pete Ferguson in the studio mad, and that's cool. But I'm cool with it. Nope, I saw the comments, Tony. So before we get off stream here, I just want to give a huge shout out to the Nebraska volleyball team tonight. Big win last night. I'll use the word easy. Easy sweep. Got in and out of there in an hour and 15 minutes, which that's kind of been what we're used to this year. And I'm cool with it because I will be here tonight. You should be here tonight. Me and Mandy Monson, we will be talking all things Husker volleyball. We'll be talking, I'm hoping, a Husker win. And we'll be getting into everything that you need to know about the Huskers here. We'll be talking about Harper Murray. We'll be talking about, of course, Becca Alec. We'll be talking about Bergen Riley. Everybody you need to know all to know about, we'll be knowing. We'll have everything you need. We'll have scores. We'll have updates. We'll have scores from around the country. We'll obviously maybe throw in some football in there if I can get that for y'all. Other than that, though, it'll be nothing but volleyball for a great hour tonight. That should be right after, we'll say a little after 9 tonight. Other than that, big shout out to everybody who tuned in. All 60 of y'all. Great numbers for a Saturday, I'll say. A last-minute Saturday for us here in the studio. Other than that, have a great weekend here. It has been Ticket Weekends with your host, Rudy Gres the 4th. I will be live tonight. Tune back in. Thank y'all once again. Have a great day. Go Big Red. That pained me to say. But go Big Red. Make sure you tune back in. Every show we have here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have